There we go. All right. Good morning, everyone. This meeting before the Akron Vacant Commercial Industrial Building Appeals Board will now come to order. Before we get started here, I'd like to ask for a motion to suspend the rules of this board requiring in-person attendance, in-person participation, and in-person voting. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for the board for the in-person and voting and participation.
Is there a second? Mr. Burke, I believe you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there you go.
Okay, I'll second.
Very good. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unopposed? So we will go ahead with the meeting as noted. I'd like to go ahead and read a short statement here right now. Do we have all the attendees in the room?
I'll bring them in now.
Okay. Are we good?
We're going to give them an opportunity to connect to their audio.
Okay.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Bear with us while we connect everybody, please.
We're just waiting for Attorney Williams and Brandon to connect to audio.
Hello?
I don't know what their agenda is. Did you get a report from the fire department yesterday?
No,
One last person we're waiting
it
for.
said when I email it to me, I haven't seen my email.
Okay.
Okay, we're still waiting for Brandon. Brandon, if you could try to connect to audio, please. It says you're connecting, but you may need to leave and come back in.
Okay. They didn't email.
No.
Here. I don't have anything, so. I'm sorry.
Is there any direction we can give him to get connected here?
Brandon, can you hear us? Oh, there, it looks like he might be connected.
Okay.
So everyone's connected.
Okay, thank you everyone for your patience. I'd like to read a short statement here before we get started.
Yeah.
This board hears two types of cases involving particular properties. The first being appeals of notices and orders to comply. The second being reports of hazardous buildings from the Department of Neighborhood Assistance. Representatives of the city, owners, other people in control of the property, neighbors, and other interested parties will all be recognized at the appropriate time, given an opportunity to be heard concerning the particular property involved. Any person appearing today that intends to speak at this hearing on any particular property are going to be sworn in prior to their testimony. And I believe Mr. York is going to do that now. So if all those in attendance, please unmute yourself. We're going to swear you in now for your testimony later.
Put your hand if you're going to testify.
Okay, raise your right hand, please, if you'll be testifying this morning.
Yes, sir.
Brandon, you need to unmute your microphone.
Yeah, you're okay. He's talking to him.
Okay.
Oh, and Josh as well. Please unmute your microphone, Josh.
Oh, those are the.
Should be in the bottom left corner.
Outlets and whatever else, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, it looks good. Please answer this question. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I
Thank
think
you.
Mr. Greger's
Thank you
gonna
all.
put everyone back in the waiting room except for the first case.
I need to finish my statement, though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've got a little bit to go here.
Yes,
So,
sorry.
thank you all. Our order of presentation is going to be as follows. First, the city will present a summary of the history of the property. Second, those speaking in favor of the appeal or in favor of rehabilitating the property will be heard. Third, anyone speaking against the appeal will be heard. And finally, those in favor will have an opportunity to respond. We are now going to move into the case hearings. So if all of you would be patient enough to wait until your number gets called, we're going to put you in the waiting room. Appreciate your patience for that. And we're going to go ahead with the meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna put to anyone for the upcoming cases back in the waiting room, and I will attempt to communicate with you via chat, let you know where we stand and what order people are in. So one moment.
While we do that, I think we can move forward with approval of minutes from March 10th. Members of the board, have you had the opportunity to review those?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Are there any changes or corrections?
No, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I will second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? None opposed. The minutes are approved from March 10th.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. York?
I just point out that Ms. Butterworth has arrived, so you now have 4 members. I don't know if you were able to see
Yes,
that.
I did note that.
Okay.
Very good.
Hey, Mr. Chair, the first case would be the 734 Canton Road case. We have Mr. McKittrick and Mr. Freeland here to speak for that case.
Oh, okay. Are we ready then? By way of introduction, this is review case hearing number 1-21, 734 Canton Road. Mr. Johnson, would you care to update us on this one?
Let me get to that file, please. I didn't know which order he was gonna
Yeah, I
go
gotta do
in,
the
so
same.
I don't have that ready. Okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, case number 0001-21, address of 734 Canton Road, was last reviewed on February 10th, 2021. At that time, the board asked the owners to clean out the building, register it with the Vacant Building Registry Board. We have not had an opportunity to look inside the building since our last inspection. Although I could see in the window the last time I was out, nothing had been done that I could see at that point. They did register the building yesterday, and they also have removed the car that was blocking the entranceway, put a chain up with a reflector as requested, and they submitted a note when they registered it yesterday. But I'll let them testify to what that note says and what they mean to do with the building and have attempted to do.
Okay. Who do we have here to speak in favor?
I'm Mark Freeland, the owner.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Freeland. You want to update us on what's going on?
Okay, we would have had the building emptied out, but the weather kind of slowed us down, pulling the things out. We have 3 exits in the back. We cleaned out one exit to determine how big of we were going to get a pod to come in and put the things in the pod. So after we removed the stuff and took some of it to another location, we put it back in, and I bought a pod for delivery, and we checked on permits first, and the county said if we put it behind the building, keep it away from the entrances, we wouldn't need a permit for it. So I bought it, spent $32.95 for a pod, and we're waiting for delivery. It's coming from New Jersey. If we would have gotten that sooner, they're kind of dragging their feet. It's been 3 weeks waiting for this pod. But since the weather got better, we've been working outside. We came in and cleaned up, mowed and brush hogged all around the building, everything, cleaned up the parking lot. We started painting. Last time somebody said there was peeling paint and stuff. So I scraped the building, finished painting it yesterday, painted the fence beside the building, and started on the yellow that's underneath the fence. Started in the parking lot, getting rid of there was some grass coming up in the parking lot so we could seal it again. Let's see. We did move the truck and put up the chain. In the beginning, it was tough too, because the people that do the work and things, they were on unemployment. They didn't want to come off unemployment just to do one job like that. So until the weather got better, it was like you couldn't get anybody really to come out and do it. We took care of we purchased the 3 fire extinguishers, got the numbering for the building and the exit signs for the fire department. Let me see. There was one gutter that was broken in half. I left it up until the people came out and are going to put up new gutters, but I left it up to keep the water from draining up against the building. It was still draining away from the building. So there's half of a gutter still up. We had our electric, getting it hooked up. We had there's actually 2 addresses there. One's 734, and there used to be a carry out on the other side, and it was either 730 or 732. And that's the electric we want to get turned on, but First Energy doesn't recognize that box. It's got new wiring and everything in that, so we really wouldn't have to. We can eliminate the older box that has the meat market wiring and stuff in it. Besides that, that's everything we've done. And as soon as the pod gets there, we'll be able to clean out the whole building. And there's coolers and stuff we're going to remove and then put some of it back in. The rest, we're going to get a rental truck with a lift gate on it, and it will take the pod to my house, and we'll put everything in it at my house then, that we don't put back in the meat market. So that's the plan. We've been working there. The building looks great. I feel really good about what we've accomplished so far, and the work's continuing. That's it. I hope you got that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So along the way here, have you been in touch with the city to inform them of your progress?
I left them a note with the Rachel Brunson helped us yesterday setting up the phone for the meeting today. And I left a note with her saying how long I thought it would take to finish it off. As soon as that pod gets here, I mean, we unloaded one whole entrance outside, and it didn't take us very long, and cleaned out. So the building's it's in good shape. There's minor things that we have to do, but once the pod's here, we'll pretty much be taking care of everything then. the building on the outside looks good.
Okay. And then, so what's the longer term plan? You got a use
If,
coming
if-
for this, or?
if you have another meeting in 2 months, I think we'll be done by then and we can come on and verify it then. But we'll probably need maybe 2 months to finish it up totally.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have. Members, do you have any questions for Mr. Freeland?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do. Mr. Freeland, I noticed that you said it was just registered yesterday, started painting yesterday. You saying it was weather?
I finished painting yesterday.
Finished painting yesterday. And Mr. Johnson stated that he didn't get in to view the site. And I'm just wondering if this is some type of delay tactic, because, I mean, the weather's been great. In
Lately,
fact,
that's why I was able to paint, but we're just waiting for that pod. That's where everything's going into the pod. It's going to be in the back of the building and everything will be moved out into the pod. We'll remove remove everything out of the building and take care of the rest of it then. I mean, there is still stuff in there. We did move a lot out, but not everything yet. I mean, I bought a 40-foot pod and it's going to be delivered in the back of the building.
and your plans to keeping that pod stored back there?
No, like the Summit County guy told us, he told us we didn't need a permit, but he said it's not, you can't leave it there forever. So as soon as we get it cleaned out, remove the some of the old coolers and freezers in there, we'll be putting some of it back in. The rest of it, get a rental truck with a lift gate on the back. We'll load the truck up, take the pod to my house, and I'll leave it at my house. And we'll put everything else that we don't put in the meat market there. Where I live, they don't care if we have a pod at my house.
And also, I thought in the last meeting on the reviewing your case is that you were going to stay in touch with the city so they could do an inspection. And Mr. Johnson said that he wasn't able to get in. What was the holdup on that?
There was very little that he could have seen. That was everything we did on the outside that you could really tell. I mean, we cleaned out that aisleway, and I mean, you could see how big of a pod that we would need to put the stuff in. That's I mean, I could have had him there and looked at it, but he's probably would have thought that, it was pretty much like it was before.
Okay, and that is my concern with, if there a fire break out in there.
Well, like the fire department told us that there's very little flammable stuff in there. So he didn't really think that, the fire extinguishers are in there. We got 3 new fire extinguishers. The exit signs are up and the things for him. The only thing, this pod could be there tomorrow. I mean, it's time for its delivery.
We were concerned about if firemen went in there and got trapped on
Correct.
something. There's a lot of stuff.
Correct. That was my concern, that if fire break out, that they would get trapped in there and possibly get hurt. And you haven't even made an attempt to. Oh,
I've made all kinds of attempts. We've cleaned one of the exits all the way out, and then you can get through it, but it needs to be taken out and put in a pod. That's why I bought a pod to put in the parking lot.
Okay, and you said a pod may be there tomorrow or today.
It was ordered 3 weeks ago, but it's coming from, I didn't know they were on the East Coast. It's coming from New Jersey.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Any other members? Okay, anyone else to speak for this appeal? Anyone to speak against? I believe we have the council person wishing to speak. Go ahead and, yes.
Thank you. I've kept a close watch on this. My recollection of the last hearing that we had on this is that we were told he was going to be on vacation for a week coming up, and there would be some progress. Granted, like he said, that at that time, immediately after, we had a little bit of snow, and the snow was there for a while, and I would drive by at least once a day, if not twice a day. Never saw any tracks. I checked with, there's a new carpet business there. I would check with the people there that were working to see if they had seen anything and ask them to call me if they saw any activity over there. So it was quite some time after that there was finally some activity when the weather started to get a little bit nicer and the snow melted. I did see, as he mentioned, I saw some items out in the back parking lot. There were people there working. It was only like a handful of things, like maybe 4 or 5 items in the back. And when I went back by later, the vehicles were gone and those items were gone. So I'm not sure if those were taken away or put back in there and just moved to open up the entryways, as he spoke of. And then after that, I did see some activity where the truck was gone. There's a chain up over the property so people can't get back there. And I did observe him running a weed eater at one point as well. My concern is as it was quite clear as what needed to be done. And I think we've seen a pattern of behavior over the last, well over the last 9 years with this property. And he had ample time over this, since the last meeting, to be able to register this property. And he waited up until the last minute yesterday to do this. And I think we see a continual pattern of behavior of what's being done with this property. And I'm just concerned it's just going to continue. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
could we get the councilman's name and address just for the record?
Sure. Brad McKittrick, 1490 Verndale, Verndale Drive, Akron, 44306. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else to speak? Mr. Freeland, do you want to respond to any of the comments that have been made?
Yeah, he checked way back whenever the weather. I mean, I was on vacation and I look out the window and it was snow. We waited for the fence to be put up so we could move the truck. Then we were able to get in. The truck was vandalized by people walking around the area. So we had it towed out. Then we were able to get into the back there, and we did unload it. But we've been, it's not just a weed eater. We had the mower in, the neighbor beside us. I'm not sure if, I have to weed eat against his building or what the thing is. But the back looks brand new. The side going back to it looks brand new now. I finished the painting yesterday. We're going to try to modernize the front a little bit. I mean, we're going to open it back up because, like I said, I bought it as an investment, and I had to wait till I retired to be able to finish this. And I spent a lot of time there and a lot of money on the building, and we're going to continue doing that. I mean, it was a little slow going, but in the past, I tried to, like I said in the beginning, I tried to get the old owner to keep it open and keep it going, but it was just, and I couldn't do it myself and work at the same time. So the building looks good. I feel good about what we've done, and it won't take that much more to be able to do it. I mean, unloading the building and doing a little cleaning inside and stuff, it won't take that long. And then the building outside looks really good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, do you have any other thoughts on this one?
No, Mr. Chairman, the city of Akron, we're not real happy with the slow going, but something has been done. If the board wants to, give the owner some more time to try and get better on track, we'd be okay with that.
The pod comes.
Okay.
You'd be able to sell a lot of stuff.
Mr. Johnson, it sounds like if the time is given, you want to have a condition that you and the fire department be provided the opportunity to inspect before the next meeting. Is that correct?
Definitely, definitely. We definitely need to get in there and get an idea of what's been done, not only here recently, but as he moves forward and not at the last minute. His companion there called me, I believe it was on Monday, and wanted us to inspect either yesterday or today, and then also suggested inspection after they got the pod. And as I indicated to her that we need to have a scheduled time. You know, we have other inspections and other things going on. We just always can't drop things at the last minute and come out. So they need to schedule something with us for maybe possibly next week so we can see what's going on. And then also let us see possibly a week or a few days before the next hearing, that if the board grants them the opportunity for another review.
That makes sense. Makes total sense. Okay, well, with that, anyone else have anything to add or say or questions?
Yeah, he did. I said, okay, it's okay.
Well, hearing none, I will turn it over to the board for your.
Okay, Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Polk.
in case number 0001-21, 734 Canton Road. I personally feel that we should go ahead with a demo on this building for the fact of no inspection. We asked to have an inspection, last minute registration, council person and former council person both complain of this building not being repaired properly and taken care of. And with that, I'm concerned with the conditions inside, of firemen getting trapped or whatever. And I just don't feel comfortable with going through with giving him any more time.
Mr. Chair, could I ask a question about the motion? Just
Please.
for clarification.
Yes.
Mr. Polk, for clarification purposes, it is part of your motion that the fire load is creating a nuisance condition at the property?
No, not creating a nuisance. It's the hazards that if the fire would break out, that the danger would cause upon a fireman that goes in there and get trapped and not able to get out. Nuisance, I'm not sure if the there's from the inside. I'm
the
not
reason
sure
I ask is because part of the board's authority is to order nuisance conditions demolished. So if you're not recommending that it be demolished because it's creating a nuisance, then I don't believe your motion, if approved, would be adequate.
Okay.
Contact him as soon as the pod's delivered.
Okay. Well, if the grass have been cut and painting haven't been taken care of, then I don't see how that would be a nuisance.
Okay, well, where does that leave us here?
Well, the commission could vote on that motion, or another member could move to amend the motion.
Can I withdraw the motion?
You could withdraw the motion.
That's the only other thing that I could see. There's no nuisance effect if the building outside has been taken care of. Then I will withdraw my motion of demo case number 001-21-734 Canton Road.
Okay. Motion is withdrawn. That leaves us open for another motion.
With respect to case number 0001-21, 734 Canton Road, I would move that we give the owner an additional 30 days, or really would be our May meeting, to address all of the issues that have been identified today. There are issues, both large and small, but I believe enough time has been given, and a 30-day extension should allow for them to get the necessary completion for the items.
Mr. Chair,
Mr.
Chair, could I
Burke,
once
for
again ask
clarity
for
purposes, can we add on the inspections
Certainly.
that need to be done, both fire and building? Mr. York, was there anything else?
I just wanted to ask for clarification. The motion spoke of a 30-day extension till the May meeting. Does that include actually the date of May 12th?
Yes.
2021, which is the second Wednesday in May?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, the May meeting.
Okay. So we have a motion. Anyone want a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Also abstain.
It's tied.
So individually, we have 2 abstentions and I believe 2 in favor. Did
I believe you have 5 members now, Mr. Chair. So I believe that would be three in favor and 2 abstentions.
I just didn't hear everything, I don't think. So we have 3 in favor and 2 abstentions. Okay. So, Mr. Freeland, reading between the lines here, you're on a pretty short leash. You've got 30 days. And please schedule your inspections and do what needs to be done.
As soon as we get the pod and we get the building unloaded, we'll schedule.
I mean, whatever you got to do.
Okay, very good.
Tell them if they want to come out today, they can.
Okay.
Oh,
Do we have an order here for who's next?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm going to bring in the respondents for 1015 East Talmadge in just one moment.
Okay, so this is case number 13-20, 1015 East Talmadge Avenue. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Case number 0013-20, address of 1015 East Talmadge Avenue. This case was last reviewed on March 10th, 2021. And the board had ordered at that time for the work in progress need to be inspected, and interior work in electricity and roof and painting needed to be done. We also needed to see what permits and certifications had been submitted and be able to identify. As of yet, we have not seen any certifications or permits. We have not had an opportunity to re-inspect the inside. The attorney did submit some photos, I believe it was yesterday or today, showing that there was some work done on the inside. Some of the trees have been cut down, but not all of them. It looks like they may have power washed it, according to the pictures, or did some sort of scraping on that side where the trees were. I did have an opportunity to speak with a Mr. Ram, who I believe should be on this Zoom call meeting.
Yes,
He is the tenant that is is going to rent the building, or is renting the building to put something in there once they get it fixed up. There seems to be some discrepancies there as to who's supposed to do what work, and I think he wants to get that cleared up so the work can be completed as the board ordered. That's all I have.
Okay. Who do we have here to speak in favor of this one?
Attorney Mark Shear, I'm here with Ollie Lafifard.
Also, I'd like to add, Mr. Chairman, excuse me, also like to add, this building is not registered for 2021.
Really? Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Shear.
Well, not registered for 2021 for what?
Vacant building registry.
Oh, vacant building, gotcha.
What is the starting from the time?
If I may have a moment to ask Mr. Lafifard a question, I'm going to put you on mute. My understanding is that Mr. Ram, as the tenant who's doing some of the build out here to modify the property for his use, has obtained some permits to modify the building to do what's necessary to bring it up to snuff so he can occupy it. So those permits are being pulled, and as you can see, they keep moving forward with the bringing the building up to snuff here. So I didn't think at that point it would have to be registered as a vacant building when people are modifying it and their permits pulled for doing continuing construction.
Does he have an occupancy permit?
Not yet.
Then it's not occupied. He needs to register.
So we registered last year.
Right.
But I'm not sure
Registration
how
every
far
year.
does it go?
He's telling you to re-register.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah.
that's fine. We'll do that.
That's
If
fine.
you're looking for it, we'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Other than that, as you can see by the photographs, they're continuing to make progress. As far as those trees, if I may share my screen, or maybe this is good enough, what you have up there. May I share my screen? I want to show you the county GIS system.
If you, that would be up to the chair to agree with that if you have that capability.
Is that okay? If you can see that, if you take a look at the property lines, there is a wall and a walkway that goes along this white property line, and that's where the property line is. So all those trees are not part of Mr. Lafifard's property. Now they did talk to the neighbor, and the neighbor said, "Fine, do what you need to do." So we started to do some of those things, but those are not their trees. And if I show you these pictures that we submitted, these pictures were all taken yesterday because we wanted to give you the most up-to-date pictures. That really does a good job right here of showing where the property line is. So right there, as this concrete walk is there and as this wall is there, that's the property line. And these trees are not their trees. But again, we discussed that with the tenant. I'm sorry, the neighbor, and the neighbor said, go ahead and do that. So my understanding from Mr. Lafifard is that they trimmed some of these back. They then did do some scraping and so forth. And
wine trees were on the walls. They all pulled out. So it was about eight to nine big trees that we cut it. They moved it out. So the building is now breeding, and we're waiting to get cinder block dry out so we can paint it.
So the next step then is they're going to paint this as soon as this is dried out. So again, just continuing to move forward. I just want to be clear about where this property line is, that these things are not theirs. And really to push back more, to cut back more. I don't know if the neighbor is going to permit that. This is pretty much what the neighbor permitted. Okay.
He told me he cut the fucking tree.
Okay, you want to take, yeah, thank you. So, Mr. Johnson, we're not concerned necessarily about the trees. We're just concerned about the building. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. The trees were just possibly giving, not giving a leeway to be able to get in there and paint, but it looks like they've cleared out enough to do what they need to do as far as painting.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Shear?
Not from our end. I mean, we just intend to keep moving forward, and you see the tenants here. He keeps moving forward as well, and I think everybody has a collective desire to want to get this thing wrapped up.
So you guys are all, you and the tenant are on the same page about who's doing what?
I hope so. If there's something that we're not, I hope that we
You're
can
asking the
communicate
question.
well to get that accomplished. I think everybody's on the same team.
I've been trying to do that since we started here. But good thing that we are here now. I sent Ali a text now that I've seen you guys were together, and maybe we can hash this out after the call. But
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's kind of outside. It's kind of outside the scope of these folks, but yeah, we're absolutely.
Well, I deal with these folks a lot. I've got tons of property throughout Akron, and it's within the scope because I didn't know that this place was in demo when I rented the building. So kind of everything that I'm doing subsequently is a result of me being in a situation where I have to do those things. And it might be funny, Ali, but you know, the reason that I made appearance in this was to clarify what is going on and what's not. I don't want to continue to sink money in a building without having a clear understanding as to where that money is going to go in the future, as far as whether or not it's going to be torn down. So to date, all of the repairs, with the exception of the trees that you cut Monday, I've done out of my pocket. And I didn't know that these things had to be done until after I placed deposit on the building. So this isn't, it might be funny to you, but I moved to Ohio to start something new here, and that's what I'm trying to do. eBerry RE is our company name. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with it. We have tons of properties throughout Ohio at large. So I'm not going anywhere. It's just based on whether or not we can come to terms here. I didn't know that these things were needed. Like you were telling me, Ali was telling me, hey, we got an inspection for this or an inspection for that. But I just seen I've seen a demo notice before, and then now he said it was taken care of, and then I see another notice. So normally when I'm have a demo hearing, I submit a timeline with a scope of work, and then I work diligently with whoever that inspector is to make sure that this property comes off the demo list. So if I had known these things, then we wouldn't be here today.
Mr. Chair, could we get the witness's name and address for the record?
My name is Brandon Ram. My address is 728 Garth Avenue, Akron, Ohio, 44310.
And Mr. Chair, could I just speak to the issue of the permits for just a moment?
Yes, Mr. York, go ahead.
Okay, so the board doesn't need to get in the middle of whose responsibility it is to pull permits or whose responsibility it is to make these repairs. That's between the owner and the tenant. But what we do need to point out is permits and inspections are required by the county. I mean, if there's electrical work going out there, if there's work on the roof, building renovations, it looks like the walls are being put into that building. Permits need to be pulled from the county so that the appropriate inspector can come out and make sure those repairs are done properly. The risk is that at the end of the day, you may not end up with a certificate of occupancy if the repairs aren't done properly. And we don't want to see that happen. So whoever does the work or whoever pulls the permit, I mean, just know that you need to do it right. And that includes pulling the permits and having the inspections done so that at the end of the day, your work gets approved by the county. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I want to go back to Mr. Johnson for a minute. As far as what we expect it to be done this month, we know they're not registered. We know they're working on the walls. Is there any other issues outstanding?
No, that's the only things that we're concerned about. I think we covered everything.
Okay. Members of the board, any questions?
Would like to note that this work can all be completed within a 30-day window. Before the week's out, we can give you guys a realistic timeline and work scope. The only reason that I have not completed what we have going on here is just because I don't have a clear understanding with Mr. Lofty here. But other than that, we can move forward immediately. We have funds and workforce.
Brandon, call my office when we're done here. So I'll give my number right now, 440-846-1629.
Okay.
That number is on all my emails. So if you have an email for me, which I think you do, you should have that number.
Yep, no problem.
Okay. Just give me a minute or two after we're done so we can handle some housekeeping things.
You
And
guys can take care of that afterwards.
Thank you.
Board, if there are no questions, first of all, is there anyone else here to speak for or against? Members of the board? Would care to make a motion here?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on case number 0013-20, 1015 East Talmadge Avenue. I'd like to give them a 30-day extension and to have them register the building, and I hope the progress on the building continues. If not within the 30 days, that we will come back and perhaps do what we have to do.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you've got 30 days. Please stay in touch with the city and register, and we'll see you in 30 days.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That'll actually, folks, that'll actually be the May 12th, 2021 meeting.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you all. Take care.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I have an unidentified person in the waiting room I'd like to bring in just to a point where I can identify them, and also I want to inform you that your video is frozen.
I'm freezing up here. Are we okay?
Yeah, we hear you fine. Your video is frozen. Could the person I just admitted to the waiting room, phone number 234-334-7355, please identify yourself? Could the person who just entered the meeting, please identify yourself? Phone number 234-334-7355.
Yeah, this is Attorney Curtis Alberti. Can you hear me?
Okay, Attorney Alberti, I'm going to rename you and then put you back in the waiting room.
Okay.
Pending your case, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay, who do we have next?
Okay, I'm going to bring in the respondents for 1079 South Arlington.
Are they here? I'm not showing them.
I don't know what's in my name.
There they are.
Morning. Good morning.
I'm I'm gonna move on, but I'm still showing the last two attendees on my screen and nobody knew, so.
Yes, Mr. Chair, you're still frozen. You might want to try leaving and then coming back in to reboot your video.
All right, I apologize, everybody. Give me a second here.
One moment, yeah, it's right back.
He's muted.
I am back. I apologize, everyone. I don't know what happened there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So I believe we are now on case number 18-20, 1079 South Arlington. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, case number 0018-20, address of 1079 South Arlington, was last reviewed on February 10th, 2021. At that time, the board ordered that the owner must complete all building repairs, fire department recommendations, and submit permits of the work that's done. To date, he has done quite a bit of work. He's put a new roof on. He's done some electrical work. He has fixed the hole in the sidewalk in front of his building. But there's still some more work that needs to be done. He needs to finish dealing with the patio, some more electrical work. One of the electrical panels needs to be replaced in the downstairs part. The upstairs, he fixed one window. The other window was still in disrepair when we were there the other day. And he also is not registered for 2021 in the vacant building registry program. But he has done quite a bit of work. We're quite pleased as what he's done so far, but he needs to do a lot more.
Thank you. Okay. Who do we have to speak in favor of this?
Morning, Your Honor. I'm Brian Williams. I'm Mr. Yusefi's attorney. He's also here. Yeah, he's worked hard. He's worked very hard since August when the building was in not good shape at all. Part of the problem was he was trying to rent the property to a person, and that person was supposed to assist in the repairs, and that just didn't happen. So he's taken it on himself, and he's advanced. The electrical issue, we had submitted for the February meeting, the permit. Mr. Yusefi will contact that gentleman to finish up the issues that Mr. Johnson stated. I believe the other matters don't require any type of permit. He'll get those repairs done, and then he'll have the registration for 2021. I'll instruct him to complete the paperwork. He had done that last year. He'll just have to refile and pay the fee, and we'll give proof of that. So my understanding is that Mr. Johnson is okay giving him a month. We're recommending a month to get these things done. That appears to be reasonable because it doesn't appear to be onerous. I believe the last step, correct me if I'm wrong, is that he has to get a certificate of occupancy. But of course, that can't be done until these repairs are done and the appropriate people sign off. But we would be hopeful that we could have that occupancy certificate to present to the board next month or whenever the board wants to have the hearing.
Okay, do you plan to register as a vacant building in the meantime?
You need to, you need to register as a vacant building for right now.
Okay, I will do that.
All right.
Can I have, I guess I have a question that just triggered something in my mind. If he is planning on getting a certificate of occupancy and presents that in timely fashion, does it make sense for him to pay a fee for the vacant building fee?
Can I speak to that, Mr. Chairman?
I was just going to ask you to do that. Please do, Mr. York.
Yeah, he's actually required to be registered as of January 1st, so he's tardy. He needs to register.
Okay.
I've been hearing for some time that there was going to be a certificate of occupancy obtained. He needs to register in the meantime, and he's not going to get a refund if he gets it occupied, but at least it'll be registered. I just want to say one thing about the permit. I understand an electrical permit's been pulled and electrical work's been done. The county actually needs to be called to inspect that work because they need to approve it. The city folks cannot approve that work. So until the county sees that work and approves it, it really doesn't count. It's also going to be required that they approve that work prior to a certificate of occupancy. So you want to get that done as soon as possible. You probably also want to check with them about a roof permit, because I don't know if the work you did on the roof would require a permit, but if it did, again, they're gonna require that permit before they give the certificate of occupancy. So I think that's all I wanted to say about the permit.
Mr. Chairman?
Pulling them alone is not good enough. You actually have to follow up with inspections and approvals.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Johnson.
I think the same goes for the wheelchair ramp that the owner had repaired. The same permits and things need to be pulled and certifications need to be done to make sure that that was done correctly.
Could I speak to that, Mr. Chairman? There is a gentleman. There is a gentleman from the Summit County Building Department who works in that area. His name was Joe. He called me after the last meeting because this issue came up. He informed me, and I tried to get something in writing from him, and I will do that, but he informed me that the ramp work did not require a permit.
Well, you should be able to document that either way.
Yes,
so.
yes, we will.
And really, Mr. Williams, as you stated, you want to get that certificate of occupancy. If you get to that point and the county approves that certificate of occupancy, you will have proven to us that you've satisfied the county, which would include the wheelchair ramp.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Members, any questions? Anyone else here to speak for or against? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion in the matter of case 0018-20, 1079 South Arlington Street. I move to grant Mr. Giuseppe a 30-day extension to the May 12th, 2021 meeting with requirements to replace electrical panels, fix the window that is in disrepair, and register in the 2021 vacant building registry. And then if you can show some documentation that you've begun pulling the permits of the work that has been done.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? None opposed. So our next meeting is May 12th. We'll see you back here then.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'm going to bring in the respondents for 1295 East Talmadge Avenue.
All right. So this is case number 29-20, 1295 East Talmadge Avenue. Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, case number 0029-20, address of 1295 East Talmadge Avenue. This case was last reviewed January 13th, 2021. At that time, the board ordered that the property be kept in contact with the city, complete all necessary work, repair the grounds, parking lot, do some painting on the front and the back, and replace doors and windows. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I am very pleased to report that 90% of what they were asked to do has been done, and even some things that they weren't asked to do. This building is moving along in real good fashion. Myself and the fire department inspected it on Monday. And at this point, the city of Akron recommends that the board release this property from further review. They are registered for 2021, and they have plans to open their new business there within 30 days.
Very good. Very good.
Mr. Chair, could I just ask about the certificate of occupancy?
Please.
Do they have one? Do they
Not
have
yet,
a certificate?
not yet, but they've indicated that they are in the process of applying for one. They still have some more work to do.
Just wanted to make sure they understand they'll need to get one before they use it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. York, would we be okay within what we do if we were to go ahead and release?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to hear from, them first for any reason, or if you just went ahead and removed it. But yes, it's certainly within your authority to remove this item from your agenda based on progress.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, I believe it's Mr. Alberti. You represent the owners? Okay. You have anything to add here?
No, I don't know if either Josh Padell or Beer Udathaki might have something to add. They're much more obviously much more familiar with the status of the work that needs to be done, and so I don't know, Josh and Beer, either one of you have anything to say?
You need to unmute. You're muted. There you go.
Yes, sir. We'd like to know where we had to go for you said owner occupancy, because we don't know this is our first building.
That's the county.
For the county.
Yeah, they have an office on East Talmadge Avenue.
Just down the street.
Right.
East Talmadge?
Yes. They have a very big warehouse office type building out there. You won't miss it.
So we have to go there. We have to applying for online, you know?
Yeah, I would call them. I would recommend you call them first before you go out there.
Is it possible to get the address or something so we can kind of move forward along? Yeah, we got a couple things yesterday from building department and the fire department came and
so what you probably want to do is an internet search for the county's website, Summit County website, and then you could find the building department of Summit County. And you'll want to call the building department for advice on getting an occupancy certificate. And I don't mean to step on your toes there, Mr. Alberti.
No, that's okay.
Trying to help out there.
Yeah, I'll be following up with them on those details.
Perfect.
Thank you. I got it. It's on the East Talmadge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
All that's through the county. None of that's through the city. There's certain work that the city inspectors cannot approve. That's why you need to satisfy the county.
Oh.
Okay, so we're all understood on that. Members of the board? Any thoughts? Anyone else here to speak in favor or against? Okay. Anyone care to make a motion?
Mr.
I'll make-
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on case number 002920, 1295 East Talmadge Avenue, with the progress that was stated by Mr. Johnson, and the owners appear to be doing the right thing and trying to get this building completed. I'd like to make a motion that we release this building from our agenda.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? None opposed. All right. Good luck, gentlemen. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Who do we have left in the room? Anyone?
Hey, Mr. Chair, we have Mr. Bryant for 1655 South Hawkins is the last person in the waiting room, and he has not been sworn in. So I'm going to bring him in now.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Bryant. You want to take your phone off mute? Okay, for the record here, we have case number 29-20. No, I'm sorry, 23-20, 1655 South Hawkins Avenue. Sure, can we swear Mr. Bryant in?
Sure.
before we
Mr.
get
Bryant,
started?
could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson. If you have
Mr.
enough-
Chairman, members of the board, case number 0023-20, address of 1655 South Hawkins. It was last reviewed on February 10th, 2021. The board at that time ordered for the owner to keep working on repairs and to complete the job. So far, Mr. Bryant has not completed the job, but he's done a lot of work, as you can see in the photos. He had some minor issues, but he has overcome that, and the building is in good shape. We feel that this building has gone far enough to where if Mr. Bryant is willing to agree to register the building for 2021, that the city would recommend to the board to release this property from any further review.
Thank you. Mr. Bryant, would you like to update things on your end?
Just currently, we're just, again, finishing the building out. As you can see, it's 360 on what it looked like from start. And right now we'll be moving to the outside shortly, as far as painting the building, equipping the building with up-to-date LED lighting, and potentially getting this lease signed with the tenant.
Okay. And you're willing to register this building for 2021?
Most definitely. I don't know if that's something I could do from where I am, but if it isn't, then I would just like to have at least towards the end of the month to be able to come back out and do it in person.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I just left there last week.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. York.
I'd like to ask either the fire department or Mr. Johnson about the status of the certificate of occupancy. Does he have one?
No, he doesn't have one that I know of. Mr. Bryant, can you answer that? Because I don't remember you having it.
No, I do not have one, but that's something that we're definitely working towards. As you can see, we're almost completed what we've been working on. The bathrooms still have to be, toilets have to be reinstalled. The ceilings are going up, the walls where the plumbing is. So just it's gone from a big project to a minute. So we pretty much wrapping everything up.
So, Mr. Bryant, you understand that you need to have a certificate of occupancy before you actually have the building occupied?
Yes, I do. That comes with an inspection, and I would have to call for that, but I'm not at that point yet.
Okay.
But I do have Mr. Johnson's number, and I communicate with him all the time.
Okay, I just want to make sure. The certificate of occupancy is actually something you get from Summit County.
Okay.
So you'll need to get them involved so they can do their inspections and whatever is necessary before they give you that certificate.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else here to speak for? Anyone against? Members of the board have any questions? If none, I'd ask for a motion.
With respect to review case 0023-201655 South Hawkins Avenue, with the repairs going well and the building in pretty decent shape, I would move to release this property from the committee with the understanding that a certificate of occupancy will be required.
Very good. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed? Mr. Bryant, good luck. Thank you, and keep up good work.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, Mr. Chair, there are no other participants in the waiting room.
Okay. Well, that being the case, let's, I guess, let's finalize the last two review case hearings. Starting with 8-21, 1823 Triplet Boulevard. These are both going to be the same owner, but we'll take them one at a time. Mr. Johnson, what do we know about this one?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this building is 00821, address of 1823 Triplet Boulevard. Last reviewed March 10th, 2021. At that time, the board ordered that the building be registered with the VBR and allow the city and the fire department to inspect the interior and address the tax delinquent issues. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we did get an opportunity to inspect the inside. The building is in pretty decent shape on the inside. But I guess the most significant thing with this property at this point is that the tax issues have not been addressed. The tax lien holder has filed for a sheriff sale, which is set for June 8th of 2021. And at this time, the city of Akron would recommend to the board that we give this case a 90-day review and allow that tax sale to play out.
Okay.
Chair.
Has there been contact with the owner on this?
Yes, we've had some conversations with him and a person that was helping him deal with the situation. As I said, we've been out there, we inspected the inside of this property, myself and the fire department, and we had some conversations with the owner in person. That's about it.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Dwayne Greger, Housing Administrator. Just to fill in a little additional information that might be helpful to you. The tax lien purchaser in this particular case is a company called FIG Ohio, FIG OH. And we have worked with them. The housing division has worked with them in about the past year and a half, 2 years on several residential properties that they acquired through tax lien purchases. And we've had a very positive working relationship with them. It's our understanding now that the sheriff's sale has been scheduled for this, that this will be offered to sale on June 8th. If it does not sell on that day, it's our understanding it would be offered again 10 days later. And if it is not sold at the second sale, that it would then be released to the tax lien purchaser, FIG Ohio, at which point we would they would have ownership, and then we could present them or have them come and present their plans at that time.
Okay. So to be clear, this isn't just a tax lien sale. This is a full-blown sheriff's sale for the whole property.
Well, the tax lien, the county has filed a foreclosure on behalf of the tax lien purchaser. Yes.
So yes.
They already own the tax lien, is what you're saying. And now it's gone to, I just want to be clear what.
Yeah, Mr. Rowland, Mr. John York, they own the tax certificate. And then as part of the process, they can ask the county to file a foreclosure on their behalf. So the county fiscal office has filed that foreclosure. So yes, as part of that process, it's moving towards sheriff's sale so that if someone else doesn't buy the property, FIG Ohio will end up with the property in total, you know, the whole parcel and the building.
Okay. And then getting back to your comments, Mr. Gregory, the city has worked with them in the past.
Yes, that's correct. We have.
Okay, I got it. Okay, for the record, anyone here to speak for this? Anyone here to speak against? Members of the board? Questions? And if not, motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on case number 0008-21, 1823 Triplet Boulevard. On a recommendation of Mr. Johnson, board member, give a 30-day extension. I will make that recommendation that we do that.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
If I could jump in just for a minute. I think Mr. Johnson, I just want to clarify, Mr. Johnson's recommendation was for a 90-day extension because the sheriff's sale is not even scheduled until June. So
Correct.
I believe Mr. Johnson was recommending that the matter come back before the board on July 14th.
July 14th.
Which is the second Wednesday.
July 14th. Okay.
Okay, so come back on July 14th. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
None opposed? That's okay. We got you. All right. So next one is review case 9-21, 1849 Triplet Boulevard. Mr. Johnson, same thing going on here or something different?
No, something different here, sir. Case number 0009-21, 1849 Triplet Boulevard was last reviewed on March 10th, 2021. At that time, the board ordered that this building be registered with the VBR, allow the city and the fire department to inspect the inside and address the delinquent tax issues here too. But we did get an opportunity to inspect, and again, it's not registered. This property doesn't have the same tax problems as the other one. It has some minor ones, but not other ones. But in this case here, we have some roof issues. some other building problems that we feel that this building here is too much of a blight. And the city of Akron's recommendation is that this building be demoed.
Okay. What kind of contact has been made with the owner on this one?
Same thing, when we were inspecting the 1823 triplet, he was also present when we inspected 1849. They're just a block apart. And then he has a house in between that he lives in. So he was there with us when we were inspecting it.
Do you have any reaction to any of this, or what?
He indicated to us that he was going to try and get some funding together to fix the roof. He said he was gonna go to a roofer that day and get a contract to do the roof. His neighbor was gonna help him. But I've talked with the neighbor since then, and she indicated to me that he didn't go. And as you can see, he's not here now. She wasn't able to help him to be here. But I also let them know that we needed to see, some sort of contract or some sort of indication that he was going to repair that roof and had the ability to fix this building back up to code. And he has not presented any of that to us.
Okay, good to know. All right, for the record, anyone here to speak for this? Anyone here to speak against? Yeah, it's a tough one. But members of the board, you want to have a motion to make here?
Mr. Chairman, could I jump in just for a minute before the motion? I just want to clarify that the conditions out there. Mr. Johnson, you said there were problems with the roof.
Yes.
You also said there were other problems, other conditions that concerned you. Can you elaborate on those other conditions?
The inside of the building has heavy fire load. The downspouts on the outside are not in good shape at all. There's no utilities. There's some walls that seem to be crumbling, on the inside. Before I feel that the cracks in the mortar on the outside may be an issue, but I'll let Jamie speak to that, and Steve. They're a little bit more experienced with that than I am, but they look questionable to me.
Can we get your names for the record, Mr. Dorton, Mr. Dixon?
Steve Dorton, Jamie Dixon. Yep. I'm really not sure about the outside really condition, but the inside with the ceiling tiles rotting away, there's roof damage.
What about the fire load issue?
Oh yeah, there's huge in there too.
Is that a concern for the fire department?
It is. Yep. And even dangerous if they should enter the building if there's a fire in there, of getting trapped in there also.
Okay. Anything else to add, guys, on these? Okay, members of the board, any questions on that or anything else? I guess now I'd entertain a motion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, with respect to case 0009-21, 1849 Triplet Boulevard, due to the extensive damage to the building, and as importantly, the danger that it represents to our fire department should they need to enter that building. I would recommend that this building be demolished.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None opposed. And moved and voted for demolition. All right. Got two new case hearings. First one is 10-21, 700 South Arlington Street. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, sir. Give me 1 minute. Okay,
No problem.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Case number 0010-21, address of 700 South Arlington Street. This building is vacant, dilapidated, police activity, not registered in the vacant building registry. The deteriorated conditions of this property makes it a public nuisance and a blight and a safety hazard to the neighborhood. There are two buildings on this property, a small building in the rear of the parking lot that looks okay, but on the outside, but we haven't been inside neither one of these buildings to be able to say what the conditions are. But the main building, the outside, has a lot of deteriorated conditions. It's not being kept up. It's also next door to a building that you guys, that the board ordered to be demoed last month. So that adds to the blighted area that it sits in.
Okay, so we've got an out-of-town owner not taking care of things.
Non-responsive.
No contact, okay.
None.
Taxes are being paid though?
There's no tax issues that at this time.
So city's recommending demolition, what, both buildings?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's all the questions I had. For the record, anyone here to speak for this? Anyone to speak against? Hearing none. Members of the board, any questions or thoughts? If none, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for case 10-21, 700 South Arlington Street. Given that the buildings are vacant, dilapidated, have police activity, are not registered in the vacant building registry. The property is a public nuisance and a blighted safety hazard. So I move for demolition of both buildings on the property.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None opposed. Voted for demolition. Okay, that brings us to case 11-21, 220 Memorial Parkway.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, case number 0011-21, address of 220 Memorial Parkway. This building is vacant, dilapidated, owner's whereabouts unknown, tax delinquent, not registered in the vacant building registry. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the deteriorated condition of this property makes it a public nuisance and a blight and a safety hazard to the neighborhood. It is tax delinquent in the amount of $22,375.52. This property was purchased in 2006. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add that this building is in bad shape. It's been vacant a long time. It looks like the rear of the building is leaning slightly. In the back, I also noticed what looked like little holes in the foundation, like animals are probably living inside. The last time I was inside this building was probably 25 years ago, and it did not have a dirt floor in some areas. And the owner's daughter did call, and I invited her to be on this call, but she didn't. She was going to call back and give her email address, but she didn't. And she indicated to me that there's some fire damage inside. So that just adds to what the condition is probably in that building. So the city definitely recommends that this one be demoed.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. What did this used to be?
It was a bar.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone here to speak for this property? Anyone here to speak against?
Mr. Chairman, it's Jamie Dixon from the fire department. I agree with everything Mr. Johnson was saying. I was out there yesterday looking at the building. The back corner, the foundation is partly missing. So there's kind of a hole there, and you can see some rotten plywood hanging down, which is, I'm assuming, is probably the floor. The roof is sagging pretty good, which is causing the side wall to bow out. The side wall that runs alongside the fence next to that car dealership, you can visibly see a pretty decent bow in it. So I'm assuming the roof's in really bad shape, but without going inside, we can't really say for sure. And the front door has a small tree growing right in the corner of the front door, which would prevent opening that door. So it has to be at least a couple of years since anybody's actually been inside that building. So I agree with everything George was saying. It's in pretty bad shape.
Yeah. Beyond nuisance, seems like we've got a danger here.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask Mr. Johnson a few questions?
Yes, Mr. York.
Mr. Johnson, what was the owner's daughter's name, if you're able to tell us?
Yeah, his daughter's name was Cindy Lawler.
Okay. When you spoke to Miss Lawler, did you discuss whether she agreed with you that the building was leaning?
Yeah, she agreed, and we discussed a volunteer demo a waiver with her, and she said she would take that up with her father. But she did. She was supposed to call back, and she hasn't.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to ask her about whether the floor is still a dirt floor in there?
I did ask her that, and she said it's still part of the building, still has a dirt floor. You know,
Okay.
and I also like to add, Rachel did try to reach out to her again yesterday just to see if she would want to be a part of this call, because I have her phone number here, and Rachel wasn't able to get a hold of her.
Okay. So you mentioned that you saw some, like, what you thought were rodent holes around the foundation.
Yeah, I would say bigger than road. I looked like some raccoons or possums or something had dug their way up under the foundation.
I would put those in the category of rodents. But I
Okay, all right.
But it's good to know. Good to know they're big holes.
Yeah, it's real shame. I mean, there's trees growing out of the foundation, the size that gives me every indication, and probably Jamie as well, that the size of those trees, they've been growing a long time. You know?
Does the fact that those trees are growing up against the foundation concern you as far as the building goes?
Yeah, because that adds to the foundation being in question.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. That's all I had.
Welcome, Mr. York. Anyone else? Well, I ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, case number 00011121, 220 Memorial Parkway. I'd like to make a recommendation that due to this building being vacant, dilapidated, fire damage, owner whereabouts not known, tax delinquent, not registered, and property tax delinquents, nuisance and public safety, a blight to the safety of the city. All right, make a motion to have this building demolished.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. Voted for demolition. All right, last item I see here on the agenda is a waiver case hearing. This is case number 12-21, 725 East Wilbur Road.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, case number 12-21, 725 East Wilbur Road is a waiver. And we ask that the board grant a demolition for this property.
Okay. So obviously the owner's in agreement here.
Yes.
Anything else the board needs to know about it?
Not in great shape.
Okay. Anyone here to speak for this? Anyone here to speak against? Hearing none. Members of the board. Mr. York, is there anything you need to do here?
No, you just need to acknowledge that the owners are in agreement with the demolition. This isn't somewhat of a formality because the owner is asking the city to do the demolition. You're making this decision and ordering it demolished just in case the owner would turn around and say, I don't want it demolished. I changed my mind. The city would still have the authority to proceed with the demolition.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, anyone care to make a motion?
I will. Case number 0012-21, 725 East Wilbeth Road. Due to circumstances, I would recommend that we demolish this building per the owner's request.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm opposed. All right, so ordered. Any other business before this board today? Hearing none, our next meeting is May 12th. I guess that declare this meeting adjourned. Everyone have a good month.
And I'll be out to see everyone for signatures.